A warm welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here again. Today we are going to talk about fraternity. In the last video, we talked about the population and the demographics. In this video, we'll be talking about the fraternity, which is often an overlooked topic, makes a part of our preamble. Now, why are we reading about this? Let us see about that. We'll see the constitutional perspectives, the context of the news and the editorial, and what is the way forward and the related aspects. So let's begin the lecture. Let's first trace the origin of this word fraternity. So it's an amalgamation of two words, frater and nity. So what is frater? Frater means brotherhood or brother. It is of Latin origin. Nity means basically brotherhood. In Hindi, it's bhaichara, or to take or understand the other members of the same community or a different community as brothers, or as a member of vast family. So let's see what is fraternity and what is its role in the constitutional standpoint. It is an established fact. Two things, let us see. That India so assume this is India. So India, is it an established fact that it's a vast family? And it is supposed or expected to function like one. And we are the family members wherever we live. We are supposed and expected to behave in a certain brotherhood or with a fraternity. So let's see what does this or what role does this play in the constitutional framework. So this is the preamble of the Indian Constitution. You can see here. Let us talk about preamble a bit. So we talked already about this portion, we the people of India. That means the power comes from the people. We discussed this all in the Keshwan and Bharti case video. So what are the words here? That is sovereign, socialistic, secular, democratic, republic, and to secure to its all citizens. Now we are talking about the citizen part. So what are the things? Justice. Other thing is liberty. Other things are equality. And one thing is this fraternity. So what is the role of fraternity here? Let us see that. So fraternity assures the dignity of the individual. Second thing is unity and integrity of the nation. So it's a two-way thing. That means if all the members of a family live with brotherhood amongst themselves, then the dignity of all the members is secure because they feel equal and not discriminated. Second thing, it also secures, if the members of a family are secure, if they are functionally well, then it will secure the integrity of the whole nation. Because as we talked about demographics and population in the yesterday's video as well, we saw that nation is eventually made of its people. And people are the power with which the nation functions. So the people remain with dignity and fraternity, the nation will remain integrated. So these are the three values that we are talking about in this lecture also. All right. So this is where I have taken this editorial from, The Challenge of Reviving a Sense of Fraternity. It appeared in The Hindu. It's written by Hamid Ansari. He was the Vice President of India between 2007 and 17. That means for 2 terms. So there's a lot that he has written. Let us see the most important points from the lecture, from this editorial. So let's begin with the history of this word, history of the concept. So the idea of fraternity is closely linked to the social solidarity. So historically, this idea was more in prevalence in the countries which were socialistic, because we are talking eventually about the society. The word society in Hindi, it is samaj. That means some plus aj. Some means equal, and aj means people. So the society is eventually made of people who are equal in status, in opportunities, not discriminated against. So the fraternity is an essential concept of the society that is inseparable. So social solidarity, which is impossible to accomplish without public empathy. Just a second. All right. So Acharya Kripalini pointed out that the contents of the preamble were not only legal and political principles, but also had a moral, spiritual, and mystical content. So these are the important lines which you can use in your answer writing also. So it became an official demand of the INC in 1935 and was officially adopted in the Lucknow session in April 1936, presided by Jawaharlal Nehru, who was also drafting the objective resolution at that time. These are all the facts which you can use in your answers and in your knowledge as well. Just a second. So in the conducting session of the Constituent Assembly, B.R. Ambedkar pointed out that the absence of recognition of the principle of fraternity in the Constitution, he stated that without fraternity, equality and liberty would be no deeper than coats of paint. So the fraternity also serves as the basis for the equality and liberty. The Constitution of India was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, recognizing the need for fraternity as one of the fundamental principles. This is also why it's so important for this to have in our preamble. As I already told you, it guarantees the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. All right. So, however, the concept of fraternity is not sufficiently understood and its duties are not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution. So, this is the biggest challenge involved in anything written in the Constitution itself. As we talked about the basic structure doctrine as well, that all things that are more than text, beyond the text, are not explicitly mentioned or defined in the Constitution. All right. Let's now come to the constitutional part of this fraternity thing. So it's mentioned in the preamble, as we have already seen. The principle of fraternity was added to the principle in the preamble along with liberty, equality, and justice. So there are 4 things that you must remember. I hope you all remember the preamble. That is liberty, equality, justice, and fraternity. In the fundamental duties, Article 51A on fundamental duties, added by the 42nd Amendment in 1977. This is also the time that we are talking about, that we talked about in our first video, in the basic structure doctrine video. So that was a tumultuous times, and citizens were expected to do certain things. So that's why these were added initially. They were further amended by the 86th Amendment in 2010. Article 51A, the portion E, generally refers to the duty of every citizen to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India. It's very much relevant, especially now when in India is going through tough times. You can see people in these states, especially in the southern states, in the eastern states, facing discrimination. Recently, there was a news that people from Bihar faced certain discrimination in the state of Tamil Nadu owing to their language, culture. In the Karnataka, there have been many news very recently that people are facing, especially northerns, are facing discrimination owing to their language. And the same has been in the Maharashtra, let's say, with the migrant laborers. Even the northern states, such as Himachal, Uttarakhand, they are facing the same thing. So India is becoming more and more hostile to the diversity, to the inherent diversity and culture that made us very unique in the world. So that's why it's much relevant for us to read it now. So these are the articles which you should remember and note down. Let's see what are the challenges involved in what we are talking about, the establishment of complete functional fraternity or brotherhood. So as I told you that fraternity is again a two-way thing. With fraternity, we are expected or supposed to consider others as our brother. Now let's say this is group A and this is group B. Now they consider each other brothers. They also consider each other brothers. But now for group A to consider group B brothers of themselves, they must have something in common. We consider our real or actual brothers because they are from the same family, we have the same blood. Sometimes we can also call our friends our brothers because we share something in common. Either our ideas and thoughts are common, our emotions or feelings are common, our social or cultural background is common. There has to be some element of commonness so that we can identify with them in the relation of brotherhood. But let's say India, when we talk about India, so India is a vast country and it becomes very, very difficult for someone belonging to, let's say, Rajasthan to identify with someone living in Kerala. So diversity is a two-way thing. It almost seems like a different country when they cannot find some structure of the commonness. However, if we'll see these things in the way forward, that what can be done to establish some kind of commonness in the thoughts, ideas, belief system in two people belonging to different parts of India, in people who are diverse or belonging to diverse culture or traditions, that they can recognize with each other, identify with each other, and identify with a common belonging region or idea of the India or a nation itself. Alright. So the diversity of cultures and traditions among different communities can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. This can create, even in the India, you can see very recently, yesterday only, there was attack in the Dantewada, Chhattisgarh, near Maharashtra by the Naxalites. So it's very clear that the Naxalites do not think of those whom they attacked as their brothers, because their goals were different and their goals are different. That is why they are adamant over killing each other. Then there's government. Then there is common citizen who are living in the fear of all this conflict. Even in the northern part, there is a Khalistan movement going on. So this all you can read in internal security. But what we are going through is misunderstandings and conflict because of having various goals and not able the loss of the ability to identify with the common idea that is Bharat or India. So for instance, religious or caste-based differences can lead to mistrust, discrimination, and even violence. This can result in the erosion of the fraternity and the polarization of the society. What is the polarization? These are the words you can use in your answer also. Polarization means basically having two poles. Let's say this is the common ground. So if parties are deflected toward poles, they become polarized. Not being able to find a common ground for understandings and often falling into the ideas of violence, conflict, and discrimination. Other things are economic disparities. So the vast economic divide between different sections of society can lead to resentment and feelings of discrimination, leading to a lack of trust and cooperation among citizens. When people feel that they are being treated unfairly or that their economic status is a barrier to their success, they are less likely to cooperate and work together for the common good. This can lead to a breakdown in social cohesion, which is a fundamental aspect of fraternity. So yesterday also we talked about this when we talked about population. That the more population is there, then more disparity is there. When there is more disparity, basically it means the spectrum is wide. When there are more population, let's say this person is having 1 lakh rupees or 1000 rupees. This person is having 1 rupees. So why should he consider him brother, or why should he consider him brother? What is the reason because of which he has 1000 rupees? And what is the reason because of this he has 1 rupees only? So there can be social reason, there can be economic reason, there can be discrimination also, there can be inherent errors also. But will they consider each other brothers? So it is very unlikely because of the difference in their social, economic, ideological, educational, and economic status. And so these differences will they work together towards a common goal, towards nation building? So the answer is of course no. He will work first to fulfill his hunger, and he will work mostly to enjoy his life. So this is also one issue. Other thing is political differences. So political parties in India are quite a lot associated with how our life functions. The group you belong to, let's say you are elderly, you are a student, you are a widow, you are a woman, you are a man. So the schemes that are available to you, the social security that is available to you, is decided most often by the political parties. So with different goals, people vote different political parties. So they can create deep divides in society and impede cooperation and dialogue. Political differences can also lead to polarization, the same thing we talked about, where people become deeply divided along political lines. So it's a very big issue right now in India. The followers of Modi's are called Bhakts nowadays, Andhbhakts and all. So these are very stupid issues that have been created because of the polarization of political beliefs. It's nothing wrong to support a certain party, it's not wrong to oppose a certain party, but the basis for this support and opposition should be logical ideas, not the idealization of the leaders, not the image ruining of the leaders. So this is what is going on in India. So this can create an atmosphere of hostility and intolerances. So what we are talking about, we all know these things, whatever I am talking about, we live in the same country. But how to actually use them, how to materialize them, so this becomes important. So at least in the notes, we cannot write all these things. So in the answers, we should write very formally, such as the divides that we're talking about, political, economic, social disparities, etc. And you should be knowing the points which are important towards the answer writing. At least 3-4 points for each topic. One is failure of the constitutional morality. So this is also a very separate term which should know about. So constitutional morality, which is based on the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution, is critical to maintaining fraternity. The failure of the constitutional morality can lead to a loss of confidence in institutions and the rule of law. This can create a climate of uncertainty and instability, which can ultimately undermine the spirit of brotherhood and social cohesion in society. One thing is inadequate moral order. So, ethics and morals. So, these are two things which every person should have or should at least know about in definition. You can read about both these things. They are also important for the GS4 paper. So, a functioning moral order in society is essential for the success of democracy. This includes adherence to ethical values, social responsibilities, and a sense of social justice. Any failure in this can lead to erosion of the spirit of brotherhood. For instance, if individuals are not held accountable for unethical actions, it can lead to a breakdown in trust among citizens, resulting in social and cultural barriers that hinder fraternity. Let's now see what is the way forward. So let's see in short. So promote interfaith dialogue. What is faith? What is the difference between faith and belief? Basically, belief is in something that we understand the mechanism of the process of. Faith is in something, faith, sorry, that we do not see or are able to understand the exact mechanism of. So, this is why faith is more radical, let's say, than the belief. Faith cannot be changed even if the process is visible. Let's say we talk about different religions when we read in UPSC also. We talk about Hinduism, we talk about Buddhism, Jainism. So let's say Jainism says that there is a spirit onto which the particles of the karma adhere. Buddhism says there is no spirit. Hinduism says there is a spirit and it is not only indestructible but also is forever living and attains some kind of moksha. Now, there is no explanation in all the three religions to why this all happens or why is it so. But if you believe in this or any of this, this is known as faith. Because we don't understand how this happens, but we still believe that this happens. This is why the conflict between different faiths, let's say Islam says something else about all this. So there can be a conflict between them because the process is not visible. So encouraging dialogue and understanding between different faith can help foster a sense of fraternity. Another thing is celebrate diversity. So I talked about diversity, about the language, culture, tradition, food, the way of living, the society. So these are very diverse in each part of India. So once we understand this, this is also one reason that when you go to Labasna, then they take you to the Bharat Darshan to understand all this, that how people are living in the parts of the India. So embracing the diversity can help bring people closer, basically. Another thing is education. So education can solve many problems. So the Indian Constitution lays upon several values such as equality, liberty, justice, fraternity. So educating people about these values can inculcate a sense of fraternity among them. Another things are encourage volunteering in the social works or in the social fabric. Support social initiatives. So again the same thing basically. So supporting social initiatives that promote inclusivity and equality can help create a sense of fraternity in society. Let's say if we arrange a marathon where everybody is supposed to run 5 kilometers, then everybody can take part and feel equal in this. Or this can turn into a, let's say, cleaning event, a beach cleaning event. So this will also help support fraternity. Another thing is foster a sense of national pride. So the idea of what is India or Bharat should be clear in the minds of people, and promoting patriotism and national pride can bring people together because that we can identify as a common ground. So this was about today's lecture. I hope you understood the world, the meaning, the history, the context, the challenges involved, and the way forward. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. This is Yatharth here signing off. Keep studying, keep growing, and have a very bright day ahead.